The movie opens with a flashback of little Henry being bullied by some kids, who are driven away by his father. The father tells Henry,
"You little poop."
Henry then wakes up in a water tank in a strange laboratory. He doesn't remember anything about his past life and how he ended up here. A girl named Estelle drains water from the water tank. The man looks down to see he is missing his left forearm and leg below his knee. The girl reports that he cannot speak yet, but it is only temporary.
Scan?
She scans Henry, then tells him he lost his eyes, so he now sees through a video feed. The laser scanner performs diagnostics and robotic voice confirms that the video channel is working correctly. Estelle attaches a bionic arm to him, and the machine welds it to his body. For the test, Estelle puts an apple in his palm.
Squeeze?
He squeezes it, and it completely explodes from the strength of bionics. She then sets up his leg. While the machine covers his hand with the skin, Estelle reveals that she is actually his wife, but he may never remember this. Henry stands up, and she hands him his wedding ring and tells him that she loves him.
I love you, Henry.
The girl leads Henry into another room, where two scientists in charge of voice modules play a guitar connected to huge speakers. They jokingly offer a variety of celebrity voices to choose from.
Henry, I am your father.
Robert, enough.
Sorry, Mom.
How about we use Henry's voice?
Yeah, whatever you say, you're the boss. Boring.
But suddenly there is a level 4 security breach, and the lights go out. The door is blown open by an explosion, killing one of the scientists. The group of Russian mercenaries enters and secures the room. Then their leader named Akan enters and begins to inspect Henry. He plans to create an army of mechanically engineered soldiers like Henry. Akan asks the scientist to remind Henry what condition he arrived in. The guy says that Henry's skull was dented in and eyes were missing and his jaw was shredded to pieces.
The bottom half of his jaw was shredded to pieces.
Just about right.
So Estelle has literally rebuilt him. Akan lifts the scientist up using telekinesis and kills him. Estelle plays loud music on huge speakers, which buys them some time to escape. They run into the ventilation shaft, through which they enter a freezer full of corpses. Estelle says that if Akan gets a hold of her work, he will turn them into ruthless killers for his army. The couple reaches an escape pod. Since the pod is the last one left, Estelle puts Henry in and intends to stay, but the guy takes her with him. They evacuate the flying lab, but pull the parachute too late and crash onto a bridge below. They get out, but another group of mercenaries finds them and approaches.
Oh, God. It's mercenaries. Put me down. They underestimate you, okay? Let them get close and then engage.
Henry tries to fight back, but he clearly doesn't have enough power to resist a group of men. Then the leader of the group tases him, and Henry falls off the bridge onto a car as Estelle screams. He stumbles to his feet and hides from the mercenaries as they shoot a security guard questioning them. He runs into a shipping container and rips off a windshield wiper to use as a weapon. A mercenary walks in, and he takes him down and loots his gun. He sends a car at the other mercenaries and runs out of the container, shooting enemies along the way. Before he can run away, he is hit by a car of the Akan's corporation. Another van then appears and crashes into the mercenaries. A man in a white shirt jumps out of it, shooting the surviving mercenaries. He approaches Henry and introduces himself as Jimmy.
I'm not here to hurt you. Is your speech module installed? Well, at least we know you're not deaf.
He tells Henry to come with him because he is on his side.
3 years I've been waiting for this moment. I'll get Charlie Chaplin.
In the car, Jimmy tells him to take the scanner from the glove compartment and connect to it. They learn that Henry's battery is not getting a charge.
Okay, well, the good news is that you're going to live a while. The bad news is that in this case, a while means 20, 30 minutes top.
Jimmy is going to take him to his lab to sort this out, but they are stopped by police. The police officers approach the car but turn out to be undercover mercenaries. They open fire and Jimmy speeds off, dodging the bullets. But one of the bullets pierces Jimmy's head. The car crashes and Henry is forced to retreat on his feet. Under fire, he runs into an underground passage and hides in a store. He quickly changes clothes, but the pursuing officer notices him. Henry gets into a fight with them, eventually killing one of them. Henry dashes out of the subway and boards the first bus that comes across. A little later, a homeless man enters the bus and takes a sit across from Henry. He grabs his hand.
I'm gonna have to hurt you, Henry, but it's for your own good, mate. Just give me your arms. Hey, shit! It's me! It's Jimmy!
Homeless Jimmy pulls a trekker out of his wrist, and he says that he needs to find Slick Dimitri, Akan's man, kill him, and take his charging pump. He gives him a phone with a map of Dimitri's location.
All you gotta do is break in there, kill him, open up his ribcage, take out his beating heart, and f***ing eat it. I'm kidding. You don't have to f***ing eat his heart. Under his heart, his charge pump. Bring that to me.
Jimmy notices a dude in a funny jacket on the street.
That has got to be the gayest jacket I've ever seen.
He sticks his head out of the window to ask where he bought it, but the dude fires at him with a flamethrower. Henry jumps out of the bus, grabs a bottle of water from a young couple to put out his clothes. Homeless Jimmy dies, but before his death he manages to shout that he'll be in touch. Henry runs away from the flamethrower man. On the way to the place, in the park, he steals clothes from swimming drunks. Because of what he has a small, unpleasant chat with their friends that he manages to settle peacefully. I mean, without killing anyone. He reaches Dimitri's home. Using parkour, he climbs inside the building and sneaks along the entrance, bypassing all the mercenaries. But in the elevator, he stumbles upon one gangster with guards and is forced to open fire. Using the man as a human shield, he makes his way through a bunch of fighters shooting them right and left. As a result, he ends up in Dimitri's apartment, where some kind of database is located. He sees Dimitri sitting motionless at the desk. Henry kicks him down, but he still doesn't move. Estelle's video call distracts him from the job. She reveals that Akan has already begun to forge his army, and soon it will be too late to stop him. At this moment, Dimitri jumps up and attacks Henry. A hot firefight erupts in the apartment. Dimitri jumps out of the window and runs away. Henry tries to catch up with him, now out of ammo. Apparently having analyzed Henry, Dimitri yells at him what are the main components he consists of.
You're half machine, half pussy.
Henry rappels down the building on a rope, then sprints after Dimitri. During the pursuit, they parkour across the city, running up a large bridge over a river. Running past a street cafe, Henry grabs a bottle of champagne and knocks Dimitri down with a well-aimed throw. Then he starts beating him. But when Dimitri is about to tell Henry something important, his head is blown up by a gunshot. More mercenaries arrive and start shooting, but Henry manages to steal the charging pump inside Dimitri and run away. Jimmy calls him and sends him the location of their next meeting place.
Henry, I'm at this high-class establishment. Follow the dot and then just knock on the knocker. Get it? Knock on the knocker!
Henry follows the route and ends up in a brothel. All the staff is already waiting for Henry to arrive. This time, Jimmy appears in front of him as a freak. Henry begins to shut down as he loses power. The freak is trying to install a pump into his chest, but he realizes that he is in no condition to do this.
I'm sorry, I'm in no condition to do this, mate. I'm in no condition. I'm sorry.
He falls unconscious on the floor, and another Jimmy enters the room. He successfully performs the surgery. Jimmy is told by phone that the mercenaries have come for them. Nerd Jimmy leaves, and at the same moment, the freak Jimmy gets up.
More guns for you in the drawer, yeah? Woo! This is f***ing war, baby, yeah!
Henry takes 2 guns from a drawer and launches into battle, shooting mercenaries throughout the brothel to the screams of the ladies of the night. 2 strange girls are forced into battle, using a gun and a katana. Henry stumbles upon Akan in one of the rooms. The 2 fight, and Akan throws him into the ventilation using his telekinesis. He then throws the corpse of freak Jimmy at him. Henry falls into the underground parking lot. More mercenaries arrive, and Jimmy successfully kills all of them. New Jimmy approaches him now as a hippie. The 2 of them torture the surviving mercenary in an attempt to find out where Akan is taking Estelle. Under torture, he lays out all the information to them. 2 girls from the brothel come to Jimmy and yell at him for making a meat grinder in their high-class establishment. They also want to get even with Akan. The 4 speed off on motorcycles to catch up to the Akan's convoy. Having overtaken the vans, Henry uses a mounted minigun to take out one of the vans. Then they drive through another one, but unfortunately, the minigun gets detached. So Henry jumps on the next van and blows it up with a grenade. He is picked up by the motorbike girl in latex. He pulls out her gun and takes out the 4th van. And yes, guys, the motorbike girl unfortunately dies. Now Akan's truck is the only vehicle left, which he breaks into and kills the scientists. He finds Estelle locked up. Henry breaks her out, and the 2 hold hands. The couple is ready to celebrate their reunion with a kiss, but they are interrupted by Akan, who breaks into the van and shares the real statistic, by the way.
Each year, 100,000 baseball bats are sold in Russia. And at most, 50 baseballs. Gives an idea of a great Russian pastime.
He then knocks Henry out of the truck using a bat. He wakes up in the woods, surrounded by mercenaries. Henry's eye popped out of its socket. While the mercenaries are digging up his grave, the hippie Jimmy arrives with his girlfriend and saves him. They set Henry's eye in its place and reassemble his body piece by piece.
Look at this. Dude's got a memory blocker.
Then they reboot Henry.
Time for a reboot. See you in about 15 minutes.
Henry wakes up and sees how the couple achieve enlightenment. Literally a minute later, they are attacked by mercenaries in a tank, and the hippie dies along with his girlfriend. Henry climbs into the tank and kills the entire crew with Jimmy's girlfriend's katana. He comes across a mercenary helicopter and kills 3 men as he sprints toward it. Clinging to the rope, he shoots the mercenaries in the helicopter, but the unit commander cuts the rope and Henry falls into a tree. On the ground, he gets a call from a new Jimmy, who gives him a location to get to.
Henry, stop around. Here's where you gotta get to. Chop chop.
Upon arrival, he is met by Sniper Jimmy. The sniper leads him through an abandoned building. After telling Henry a funny story, he leads him to his lab. Inside, he meets the original Jimmy in a wheelchair. He says that he created an army of universal soldiers for Akan, like in the movie with Van Damme. But he made a mistake, for which Akan crippled him.
You know, Jimmy, something about his spine snapping. Never gets old.
Then Jimmy came to Russia and created a bunch of his avatars, which he controls using the neural interface. He shows him his avatars in turn, arranging a whole musical performance. A warning message appears on the screen about broadcasting a video stream. Jimmy says he brought Akan's men to his lab. Jimmy wants to extract Henry's eyes. A fight ensues with Jimmy's avatars.
Put down the proto-baby. What's this? What's that? You broadcasting that to Akan?
Henry calms Jimmy down with a slap in his face.
What the f*** was I thinking? The Akan's toy robot was my friend!
Jimmy has no choice but to fight the mercenaries alongside Henry. Henry with the sniper avatar run to the roof and meet the mercenaries with fire. But the mercenaries break through.
Cover me!
The sniper shuts down, and the insane punk Jimmy breaks into the battle, killing the mercenaries in every way imaginable. As a result, he blows himself up with a bunch of mercenaries. Jimmy runs into the lab and sees that General Avatar has already loaded another clone onto Jimmy's wheelchair and is about to leave. They arm themselves with guns and grenades and lead the original Jimmy out of the building, shooting down enemies along the way.
Dodged the bullet on that one.
But on the first floor, the mercenaries surround them. The general commands Henry to step back. He then blows up the lab and the ceiling crushes on the mercenaries. They drive away from the scene, but are chased by 3 vans. They destroy all 3 of them by using a charged explosive, rifles, and a rocket launcher.
Big Ben!
Henry and Jimmy drive further and eventually make it to Akan's headquarters for the final showdown. The general comes out and officially calls Akan.
Akan is a cat!
The friends go inside and see that he has already prepared the bodies for his army. They are met by gunfire, but Henry makes swift work of them using a grenade launcher. In the elevator, Henry discovers that the original Jimmy has been hit in the neck by shrapnel.
It's lodged in his jugular.
The General Avatar says that he has deactivated the memory blocker in Henry's head, so the memories will start to return gradually. The Avatar then shuts down and Jimmy admits that he is glad to be friends with Henry, after which he dies. Henry continues on the top floor and takes down all opponents using his grenade launcher. Entering the control room, he sees on the screen the processing of all his memories. Akan appears on the screen. He tells Henry that he will use his memories to program his soldiers. He also reveals that every soldier starts the same way, with Estelle saying she is their wife and telling them she loves them.
I love you, Thomas. I love you, Edward. I love you, Charlie.
Charlie f***ing Chaplin.
He taunts Henry and releases his cyborg with an upgraded booster on Henry. Henry barely kills him, rips his booster out of his chest and installs it into his body. An army of cyborgs surrounds him on the roof, and Henry kills them in every way imaginable. At the end of his strength, he injects himself with adrenaline from a nearby first aid kit, and everything slows down around him, giving him an advantage in battle. Finally, it's only him and Akan. Akan easily smashes him to the ground and Henry passes out. After regaining consciousness, he looks up and sees Estelle, who he thought was his wife, kissing Akan. She then laughs at Henry and the way he tried to save her in the lab earlier before. Akan taunts him too and says he'll have 100 soldiers by next week and each one will get a fake cheap wedding ring like he did, and they will do everything their wife orders them to do. At the end of his speech, he kicks Henry, and we see a vague glimpse of his face in a reflection. The memory returns to him, in which the father says parting words to little Henry.
You little pussy.
What my old man called me. It's like it was my name. I love you, Henry, and I'll never call you anything but your name. But you gotta decide. Are you gonna lay there, swallow that blood in your mouth? Or are you gonna stand up, spit it out, and go spill theirs?
Now angry, Henry uses his last bit of strength to get up and grab Akan from a helicopter pad, ripping his arm. Using telekinesis, Akan creates a storm field around him, but Henry manages to reach him. He starts beating him. Henry pulls out his eye and cuts off Akan's head with a cable from the eye. He jumps into the helicopter.
Where is he?
In reply, Henry shows her Akan. She screams, "How could he do this?"
How could you do this?
In response, he writes "easy" on the wall. Estelle tries to shoot him, but the bullet bounces off Henry's bionic arm and wounds her in the shoulder.
What happened, Henry? You were supposed to love me.
The girl falls out of the helicopter, clinging to the edge. She begs Henry to listen to his heart,
Listen to your heart!
to which he slams the door with a bang. Hey guys, wait a second please. I have something important to tell you. Well guys, this was my recap of the movie Hardcore Henry. You can watch an extended recap of this movie without censorship on my Telegram. The link in the description and in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you soon.